Welcome back. Some House Democrats and President Biden are calling for $9 billion in a boost to the Technology Modernization Fund in the next pandemic relief bill. If there is more money for modernization, agencies will still need to implement it across government. Richard Spires is principal at Richard A. Spires Consulting, former CIO at the Department of Homeland Security. Richard, welcome. It's great to see you again. You write recently, now's an opportune time for the Biden administration to make bold changes that can hasten agencies' maturity in managing and leveraging IT. Richard, do you think that's because of the transition? Is that because of the potential money for modernization in the relief bill? Some other reason, or all of the above?
Well, probably all of the above, but I would say it's heartening that the Biden administration is taking the use of technology and its implementation in government very seriously, and believes that an investment in technology can make a real difference. That being said, my experience, like when I started at the IRS, when I started at DHS, was that when you throw a lot of money, a lot of modernization funds, agencies really can struggle. They can struggle to execute well, and that's nothing against the government employees per se, but just the agency's talent level, experience in running major IT projects, programs. Most agencies will struggle with this. So I hate to see billions of dollars thrown at IT modernization and then not be effectively leveraged.
You make 6 recommendations, and we don't have time, unfortunately, to talk about all 6, but I wanted to pull a couple of them out because you always write interesting, incisive things. And the first one is developing comprehensive yet realistic agency IT modernization plans. The word there that jumped out at me, it was realistic. What is realistic in creating such a plan, Richard, and what's not?
Yeah, and let me just say, GAO has really come down on agencies about this very point, that most agencies do not have real IT modernization, comprehensive IT modernization plans. So you need to look across the agency. And by the way, this isn't just about the CIO or CIO's office doing this. This is about a partnership, working with the mission executives, working with the business executives to come up with a plan. It could be, it could be 5 to 10 years even. But the realistic part is this. You need to really look yourself in the mirror as an agency to say, how can we execute this? It's all well and good to have all these great projects you're going to do and move out on. But Francis, so many agencies just do not have the talent. And they don't even have necessarily the understanding of what it takes to really drive a lot of these true modernization efforts, especially when you're talking about replacing significant legacy systems. So much of the modernization we're doing now is what I would call piecemeal modernization around the edges. But if you're going to truly go through a digital transformation effort, you need to take this on, and you need to have the talent and experience to be able to do that. And I think that's where that's really what I mean by realistic.
Second recommendation you make is improving ability to manage IT programs and projects, and that, in my view, kind of relates to the first one. So I want to move to the third one, Richard, and that's addressing procurement timelines and the use of strategic sourcing and category management. Now, that's one thing, the last 2 things there, strategic sourcing, category management. The Trump administration pushed both of those relentlessly. Do you get a sense that the ball moved, and how do you want to see the Biden team keep the ball moving?
I do believe the ball moved to the good. I would just reflect, one of the biggest frustrations I had when I was a CIO in government was just how long it took to get procurements done. And so I think this is a great thing that government's doing with GSA driving this category management in IT and professional services. I think it's making a real difference. And I think this is something the Biden administration needs to champion it and just take it to the next level. They don't need to reinvent this wheel. I think there's a lot of positive momentum here. I think the Biden administration needs to pick up on that and push it forward.
I'm going to skip 4 for a moment and come back to it to wrap up. 5th is addressing the IT talent gap. 6th is improving alignment across the administration and with Congress. What does that look like in your view, Richard?
Well, I think we need to revisit the reporting requirements that are put on the agencies from OMB and really make it, align it with what we're trying to achieve around these modernization objectives. And then I would really hope that Congress would be willing to work on the scorecard, the FITARA scorecard, and get alignment between the administration and Congress about what that scorecard should be, the elements of that scorecard, so that we've got a way to much better judge how agencies are doing in these modernization efforts.
So we're almost out of time, but I want to go back to number 4, and that's maybe the biggest one here given the events of the last month or so, and that's improving agency cybersecurity posture. What does that look like in an age when we thought we had things really headed in the right direction with Einstein and the evolution of that to the 3rd generation, lots of talk and lots of action around zero trust, and then we learn about SolarWinds, Richard?
Yeah, I know. It does set us back, and in fact, it just puts a real fine point on how difficult of a problem that we're facing here. That being said, within cybersecurity, I'm really advocating 2 specific things. One is that the government needs to get much better about risk management around cybersecurity. You can't do it all, and and I know there's been FISMA and this idea of high, moderate, and low, but that still is not working quite right. What we need is true risk management. And there, by the way, NIST has a great framework, the cybersecurity framework for doing this kind of risk management. But you need to really focus on the most critical assets, the most important assets. Make sure those are protected, and then you can move on to others, rather than this trying to do it all approach that agencies get stuck tempting. And then the other thing, and you mentioned it, is zero trust. I think it's showing that we need to move to a true zero trust model. You just cannot trust anything in your environment, okay? You can't even trust the cybersecurity providers that are providing you systems. And and we just need to recognize that, and we need to move to architectures and models that enhance our capability to do zero trust.
Richard, you always have excellent insight. It's great to see you again. Thanks for your time.
Take care, Francis.